Hello, hello. Welcome. Casey here. Today's podcast is going to be about Ozempic Terror. Now, listen, don't go and get off Ozempic. Don't go and feel afraid about Ozempic. This is something that's going to help those of you who have thought about taking Ozempic. Ozempic is it semaglutide? Yeah. It's for weight loss. Actually, I think people like Khloe Kardashian's on it. Well, she looks fire as fuck. Like, everybody that I know that has done it successfully, I mean, they look fucking good. It is what it is. We're going to go in depth talking about my personal knowingness on it as from a health expert, from shaman point of view, from a Casey point of view, and all that stuff. Because, I am trauma informed, and in that, my intention is never to shame anyone. If you feel shame, maybe look at that within yourself, because I am just here to provide my life experience, and it's all about me. Some people benefit from hearing about that. Some people don't. So there you go. All right. First thing is first. If you don't know who I am or what I do, I help women, not just women, any women. Let me fucking rephrase that shit. I help goal-oriented, professional, boss bitch, rebel bitch, breadwinning bitches lose weight without cardio. Ultimately, help them get healthy by balancing their hormones via a trauma-informed approach. So that means the reason why everything else they've done and tried and it didn't work, we clear that. We go to the root of why nothing has worked, and we clear that. It's a somatic approach. We regulate the nervous system. We're teaching them how to regulate their nervous system so that ultimately anything that would come up, we increase that emotional intelligence part of them that breaks that cycle of addiction to going backwards, breaks that addiction to the shame and feeling like shit. And we offer beautiful solutions. And we found that women are overall, will get off medication, their adrenals will heal, their thyroid conditions subside. It's pretty incredible. Even me, total hysterectomy. I was on a way high dose of testosterone. I was on a lot of shit. And I'm now on very, very small amounts of testosterone and estrogen as needed. Like, I take so much less than I used to. And that's a total hysterectomy. You know what I mean? So I used to take Adderall. I've taken Lexapro. I've been on all the anxiety medications. I had cystic acne. I had to take Accutane for that. Probably been diagnosed with everything, depression, insulin resistant. I used to faint when I'd wake up in the morning. My periods were horrible. I had post-contraceptive syndrome, PCOS, hypothyroid, chronic fatigue, you name it. Even had Epstein-Barr virus, mono flare-ups. It was gnarly. And have transcended all those health conditions. And what's left now is just some more layering. We're uncovering now just this old, beautiful, even if you'd call it grief, depression, sadness, to make room for all this happiness. And it's just fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. And those of you, don't let that scare you. I'm just talking real shit, which gets me back to semaglutide and Ozempic. Okay, so, and if you like this episode, subscribe, share, download. That's how you can help what I do. Because all this is for free. This is for me doing what I do because I feel things need to come out. I like to share things, and that's just who I am. If you want to work with me, I would suggest you go to CaseyShip.com/podcast offer. There's a few things there that's freebies and hormone trainings and mini series videos and stuff like that, or you can just hop straight in and apply and book a call with our team to see if the mastermind or one of our hormone courses or which one of our courses you even need to do. I highly recommend taking advantage of those calls. So yeah, go to CaseyShip.com/podcast offer and grab that, or you can just hop on to CaseyShip.com. The free training is on that page, CaseyShip.com, the free training, or you can just go to the shop page, just peruse, just check it out. But if you want help, I would say to just reach out and ask what you need instead of wasting time and trying to figure it out yourself. Okay, let's go. So Ozempic. I did another video on this. Maybe we'll post that close to this video, but I did another video on it. And today's going to be more about what I've realized with my clients doing it. I do not promote it. Some of them have their own doctors. Some of them use it on their own. This is just me finding out about it. But I talked to a girl today, and she came in. She was actually wanting to join the mastermind program. She's a therapist. We work with a lot of counselors and therapists, coaches, business owners, because, they help a lot of people. And when their energy is low, it affects their whole life, and when they're not confident, when they're doing the things to lose weight and it's not working, or they're doing the things to help their mindset and their energy and stuff, and they're still not able to make it through their workouts, or they're going to bed too late, they're not sleeping well, they usually give us a call. And today she was saying how she got on Ozempic, and she actually comes from, she told me, I mean, she's a therapist and she's very aware. And she was like, I come from a narcissistic father, is authoritarian, always made comments about my weight. And I always felt like, I was never pretty enough or good enough for daddy and all this shit. Well, which is at the core of most weight issues. It's like just shame, not from your dad, but it's just typically most weight issues, body issues, all that just comes from some sort of shame that we've internalized. Guilt, fear of being seen, like there's all kind of things. And I go over all that and drop the fucking weight struggle course, but she was aware of all that, which made my life fucking very easy. Anytime I get a woman that's aware, I'm like, oh my God, can we get more of you? But we did talk about mostly just health and this, the energy and stuff like that. But she was on Ozempic, and the problem was when she came off, she said, well, I lost the weight, right? But when I was merging off of it, she goes, I was triggered so fucking bad. She said it was terror. Like, because she had an addiction cycle to terror because she grew up in such fear of always on edge, and just terror. Like when you're going to get abused, whether it's verbally, sexually, emotionally, reprimanded, whatever, for God knows what, you just grow up in or you grow up in a rush or it's chaotic. You just kind of grow up in your nervous system kind of like fried. It's that wired or tired. It's living in survival mode. It's living in fight or flight, always just something going on. And she was aware of that. And she goes, and oh my God, had the best year ever, got a new relationship, started her new practice, had more clients than ever, and something else. So I was like, oh my God, like you had a lot on your plate. And for somebody that's healing from trauma, she'd gotten off all medications. She used to be on Lexapro. She used to be on Adderall. She had gotten off all that because she started working on her nervous system and her trauma. And that's my story. And that's why I teach everybody in the Hot Moms, like at the end of the day, you can get your hormones done. You can do the workouts and the meal plans. But until you learn like what you're running from, why you're running, why you feel like you're always in a hurry, why you feel like money's never there, why you feel like you're always yo-yo dieting and have remorse and you feel so bad about your body and you hate yourself, low key, you're kind of just going to be symptom managing at best until something else blows up. And then there you are again, taking off, and you're like, oh my God, it's only a matter of time before your mom dies, your dad dies, your dog dies, you have kids, you change jobs, you move. So it's like, if you can equip yourself with the tools necessary to regulate your nervous system and find solace within yourself versus needing to control your environment to make sure that you're okay, like, because that's where control freaks come into and perfectionism and all that. It's like, if you just learn about this stuff, it tends to not sideswipe you as much, and your resilience rate goes up and you're just more successful, because that's just what most successful people know and do. And they've trained their mind and bodies and all that stuff. Not saying every successful person, but the majority of, like, when you see a successful person, there's something about them because they've been through shit too. So it's like, how can they go through shit and somebody else struggles their ass off? It's because there's some things that's been unresolved, right? So look at that shit. It's time to look at that shit. It doesn't have to be scary. Actually, I was telling her the analogy of, it's almost like when you're in a dark room, because a lot of us are scared of the dark, and I encourage you to sit in the dark a lot because you need to get used to being in the dark. It's just, I even teach this in my feminine course, Amar, about in the darkness is where everything comes out of the darkness, right? So, but anyway, it's almost like you're in a dark room and you see something out of the corner of your eye, like something's there, like total silence of the lambs shit, right? And your heart sinks to your asshole. You know what it's like. Like if you imagine like a robber's in your house or something, like fucking terror sets in. Okay, here's what this work gets to be like, because most of us are addicted to that of, oh shit, and that feeling, right? But the flip side is where you realize there's a light switch right behind you. And when you flip on the light, it's your dog coming over to give you a big old kiss, right? So that this work is really like, why women are really scared to take action, work with me, because my whole essence triggers them. It does. They'll say it's because I cuss or it's because I say something, but really it's the energy of you're about to find out a lot of things about who you thought you were. And I don't know if you're ready to let that part of you die. And I have a course called Macarios that teaches you how to let that part shed and step into your new skin and your newness. And there's this whole new life, but you have to learn how to live this new life because nobody taught you. All you know is what you know. So it's like this unknown. You don't know how to be the millionaire. You don't know how to be the hot bitch. You don't know how to be the woman who has it all. You have to learn how to become her, right? And that's really what we do. We teach you that, like, oh my God, look. You're the mommy now. You're the daddy now. You actually are going to give yourself what you need, and it's going to feel damn good, right? And it's very empowering, and it feels so good. And then you start having success, and before you know it, you look back and you cry because you're like, look where I used to be. I wish I would have given myself, I wish I would have known this. And then you just pick back up and you have this overall feeling of, I just want to help other people. And then life gets really cool, but that's typically how it works when women work with us. Like they get the bodies, their health gets better, their jobs, their relationships, and then there's some that don't. I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody gets success. I mean, fuck, we had 2 girls flip out in the past 3 months because one got in and she was super religious. What she said, she was okay with cussing and had watched all my videos, but she got into the work and got super fucking triggered and kind of just stopped asking for help. And so, that's it. And the other girl was legit mental. We should have picked up on this because we've taken a lot of mental cases before. Like there's been a couple cases where I was like, I don't know if I should take this. And looking back, she probably wasn't smart, but something in me took it. And within 6 months, she was off all 23 opiates and medications, wasn't suicidal, totally cleaned her life up and turned into a practitioner herself and healed a lot. So, but this girl particularly, lots of dark energies attached to her. And that looks like when everything's toxic in your life, like everything's toxic. And almost like you would be diagnosed with bipolar, almost, but she was like it was a legit mental case that we took on. And sometimes, we're playing out our old stories too, because a lot of our mothers were like that, like light switches. Like 1 minute they were this way, and then the next minute they're fucking flipping out, coming for your jugular. Wow. And so this energy snuck in and actually got some healing. Like actually there was testimonials in our group from where she was like, I've never had this much success with a group. Holy shit. And that's when sometimes it aggravates that energy. Like when that love, that success aggravates and trigger that certain energy. And then they don't know what's going on. They don't reach out for help. They're not versed in this because it is dangerous, right? Anybody with a severe mental, health issue. I had another client friend, powerful energy healer gal, counselor, used to be massage therapist, denied a client into her program because she goes, I knew something was off. I knew her mental health wasn't safe. And anytime you do this powerful, transformative work, it can trigger things. And sure enough, that girl, I think, committed suicide, not while working with her, but because this lady had denied working with her it's been a year ago. But, those of you that are mental, or not even mental health professionals, because that's what you're versed for. But like you life coaches, basically that's what we do. Energy healers, workers, all that stuff, you really got to look at, if they're too much of a hot mess, you may not be able to give them you can give them what they need more than what you can give. And sometimes you need to make sure they're with their physician, they're with their therapist while they're doing your weight loss program. Because my weight loss program is trauma informed. Like you're going to find out why you've struggled with the same 50 pounds or 10 pounds, whatever. You're going to find out where you or this, so you can have compassion for that part of yourself and you can wipe it out. That we don't have to stay in a cycle, because you're just going to keep repeating the same cycles until you realize why you're in that cycle, and then you clear it out. Because that's just 80% of it is awareness. Like, oh my God, that makes sense. Now I feel validated. Fuck. Oh, now I know I'm not crazy. A lot of women go around beating themselves up because they do struggle with anxiety or weight or money or relationships, when really it's like, no, there's a reason why you're struggling. Why don't you just understand why you're struggling, find the root? There's a solution on the other side. You can totally heal it, because you can totally heal it and transcend this bullshit and actually create that life that you do want, because you can create anything. So there's that. Now I'm going back to my original Ozempic. So this girl, she got triggered when she came off Ozempic, because she's like, I got so fucking triggered because the terror. She goes, Casey, like I was terrified that the weight was going to come back on. And I was like, that's valid as shit. And I can see how that would have and it did. It spun her out, right? It kind of caused a bunch of other shit to transpire because it just put her in that terror mode. And this, when women come into our program to reverse diet, meaning say they've been on low calories for a long time, we show them how to slowly increase their calories, back off the training and all that. But they can get triggers. Eating disordered clients that we have, they can get triggered because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to get fat. I need to go do extra cardio. I need to be doing more. I need to be sore. I need to be all the stuff. All those are compensatory behaviors. That's the disorder, right? That's the thing. So we have a way to teach, hey, here's how you're feeling, or not like gaslighting, but let's look at the emotion, see which one it is. You choose whichever one feels good to you. And here's some ways to clear that, to almost neutralize, calm down the energy, discharge the energy in a way where you change perceptions. It's almost like, okay, so you're sabotaging yourself, but what's the benefits of that? What's the benefits of you sabotaging yourself? Because there are benefits. So there's always two ways of seeing it, and that there the enlightenment comes. And then your mind opens and you broaden, your heart opens, and all this new information, you turn out wow, it was never bad. It was never bad. You never even fucked up. Wow, you're totally free now. So when it came to the terror of Ozempic, coming off of it, here's what I want you to know. when you come off of Ozempic, first of all, you need to, number one, recognize the emotions that it's bringing up. And if you don't want to buy my program, fine. Go do it yourself. Go look up the emotional wheel. This is a great hack. And you'll see that it's got like a bunch of emotions on it. So whatever, triggers coming up, go to that emotional wheel, see what emotion you're feeling. And that alone sometimes will validate the shit out of you. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling disrespected, or I'm feeling afraid. You'll see what I'm talking about. And in my program, I give you journal prompts to get you through that, around it, into the next level. So first, be aware of the thoughts and feelings that you're feeling. And then next, you need to learn how to reverse diet. So I do have this course. It's a la carte. It's very inexpensive on caseyship.com/shop. I'm pretty sure. It's also in the challenge if you want to do the challenge, because it comes with like one-on-one consulting and a lot of other things. But you need to learn how to reverse diet. So that way, you haven't been eating, you haven't been doing anything. So your thyroid's pretty much, everything has slowed down because it's all slowed down. So you need to learn how to increase your calories slowly. Also get the food and gut test, because you could, start eating more calories, but if it's not the food and, if it's not the things that your body needs to thrive, it's going to be one more stressor for your body, which could lead into other issues, viral load increasing, like all this other shit. So learn how to reverse diet. Like I said, you can do it with our program. We have a la carte. We have full on, walk you through it, hand holding. We got everything. Or you could do it yourself. And as you reverse diet, wouldn't hurt you to go also, I would say go to hormone doctors, but they're, even functional medicine doctors, I'll see people, they'll, like this girl, she's on thyroid medication, even though it's natural thyroid, her adrenals are shot. They're not addressing her adrenals. Even if you get on testosterone, you're not addressing your adrenals, and you're not addressing the reason why you're in fight or flight. So it's just covering a symptom. I'm all about Western medicine. Listen, no shame, but please, when you do this medication, do the stuff that clears out the need for the medication. The blood pressure medicine, let's say. Why don't we work on anger, sadness, and learn how to discharge these emotions and these things that's causing it, and address the food? You won't need blood pressure medication, right? If you look at African American and the things that every culture, every ethnicity has their own trauma through their lines, their lineage lines. But if you look at Black people, I think the Black people, maybe Latin, struggle with high BP. And if you look at the trauma they suffered, the suppression, the abuse, not saying nowadays, but and even nowadays, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. It exists in fucking sex trafficking. A little white girl could get this. But back in the day, we know there was slavery with Black people. They were beaten. I didn't see this, but I was told this in books. So, there's that. But I've never met a Black person that was beaten with a cat of nine tails. So I couldn't tell you if it's true or not. I'm just repeating shit. I don't know. I heard it's true. I don't know though. But let's just say it is. There was some things that were being there was just, mistreatment. You can't not look at that. Yeah, sure. Maybe there's some things different in our, DNA, but you can't not look at the depression that maybe Jews went through, or Jewish people, all this stuff, and the emotional reason behind the blood pressure, high blood pressure, and it's anger, and then the emotion behind anger is deep grief and sadness. You know what I mean? So you can't not look at these things. Sure, you can. I mean, you can do any fucking thing you want. But I like to look at the whole holistic emotional body, because I believe the emotions control a lot. I mean, even stress hormones, your emotions control your stress. If you start thinking of a thing, this is proven by science, your heart rate increases. Your brain, your amygdala, things get triggered, right? And that creates a stress response. Like your brain doesn't know if it actually happened or if it did. So you can create all these responses in your head. Yeah, emotions and thought form turns into physical manifestation. So if you sit there and think that you're not a feeling type being and things don't have an emotional core or root, you're denying your whole who you are, or not. Like I said, don't let me project onto you. But that's the Ozempic, for those of you on Ozempic, if you get triggered or feel like I'm scared to come off because I'll get fat, now we need to look into, okay, let's explore this. Why don't we go to the original reason of why we're overweight? When did it start? Does it run in your family, and then you look at all these fucking avenues, and really it comes down to shame, guilt, fear. That's it. And once you learn why and how, just learn about those emotions and learn how to give yourself what you need for the first time versus looking outside, making your husband do this so you can feel safe, or your kids do this, or if everybody else just did this, you would feel that. That's codependent and it's toxic as fuck. Once you learn about that, it's just learning. That's all it is learning, self-help, and realizing that, sure, don't feel, and listen, you can feel bad if you want to, but if you feel like, oh my God, I just got to go through, you don't have to go through all that again. It's just saying, oh my my God, I found the plug in the drain. No wonder it was stopped up. It's kind of like that. Like, let me just take it out now. Boom. There you go. So once you're aware of it, then you can actually do something about it. Now you're empowered and you're free. Knowledge is power. So do reverse dieting, understand the emotion behind it, learn how to move beyond the addiction to trauma, fear, stress, anxiety, shame, and guilt. Start doing things that help you accept yourself. It's going to take a minute. Give yourself time and do the things that you know you need to be doing, and don't beat yourself. You cannot go and starve yourself into this. You can't go and beat yourself in the gym. This is going to take gentleness, like really being gentle with yourself. And a lot of times we don't even know how to do that. So I just really suggest not doing it alone. Trauma is in isolation, I don't know why it's in isolation, but that's where everything happens. It's when we feel alone. It's when we retreat. It's when we go, we block everything out because some of us have trust issues because we couldn't trust what was going on around us. But where healing happens is with other humans. We were never meant to be alone. I'm going to do a video on that as well. But, the codependent part, people get confused about it. But yeah, we weren't meant to just be alone. We're not like our species, which don't do that. So you shouldn't do this alone. Even though you've probably been hurt, abused, and people's fucked you over, that's part of your story. I'm telling you right now, you can create a different story if you want to. It's up to you, Only a fool stays in suffering. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's a way out, and it's actually easier and better and more fun than what you're living. So I suggest getting with somebody that has your back, has the tools that can empower you to heal yourself. You can only heal yourself. I can give you the tools, and there you have it. There you go. And I will say lastly is I got this analogy from a guy named John. He has a program called Bulletproof Entrepreneur. And he said, it's like being drunk or sober. He's like, being drunk is like anxious, feeling afraid or overwhelmed or hating your body or afraid about money. And then sober is just kind of like you're certain, you're confident, you're just certain and confident. And the problem with most programs is they give all these things, which could be great, and they get really great results, right? But the energy of the person is still all those drunk things. So you can give all this stuff, but they won't be able to do anything with it because you don't make good decisions when you're drunk, right? Same with money. If you can't manage your emotions, you can't manage money. If you can't manage your emotions, you can't manage your body because you just go right back to the refrigerator. You don't eat because you don't feel like it. You don't go work out because you don't feel like it, right? So you can't manage your emotions. You can't manage anything, really. You're just one big reactive fucking hot mess. Wonder why life's happening to you, victim of circumstance, versus being the hero of your own story and creating these new situations, taking full responsibility for what happens in your life and changing it because you're that powerful. But anyway, what we do is we come in and help sober you up. Like we show you why you don't have the energy. We help you get the energy so you can do what needs to be done and start making these radical shifts and changes in your life, right? And now some people think, Casey, that's a lot of work. Actually, I think what you're doing is a lot of work. Buying all these programs, wasting all this, mental real estate, taking up all this emotional and mental real estate, and just everything, you're grinding it out. And your kids, I mean, if you've got kids and you're living like this, literally emotionally neglecting them. Like yesterday, I felt so bad because I was tired and my kids needed something. Like, here we go. This is why I've got to really do what I need to do to take care of me, or else I'm neglecting them, right? So, and I'm not saying that to guilt you or shame you, but if the shoe fits, like, let's clear it because you're meant for more. Like, we need more people to wake up right now. We need more people to get these bodies, get these healthy bodies, get healthy, get their energy back, think clearly, and sober up is in a sense, right? But I love that analogy they gave. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on the Ozempic Terror. Listen, if it's got you by the balls like that, just do what I'm saying. Learn about the emotion, do the reverse dieting, and learn for the first time. Really get to the root and do not stop until you see radical shifts and changes in your health. There are answers out there. And I don't want to say that you need, like, don't go with this like you need because you're fucked up. But just know that if you're continuing to go to this doctor, this person, this chiropractor, whatever the fuck, and it's not changing, and you're doing your hormones and it's not changing, then that just means that's not it. You're finding out ways that's not working instead of, I'm just failing. No, you're finding out ways that it's not what you need. So there you go. Now you're on to the next one. That's how you kind of got to look at it until you get to a point where some people coach hop. And that comes from no self-esteem, where they just continue reaching outside of themselves like, oh, that looks good. I need because I lack. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing and all this comes with discernment. Once you reach a certain point and you have these things, like, how to be, how you got your health good, you got all this, it comes to a certain point where you go inside yourself to get the answer. You know, there's this part of you that knows what you need. But you first have to remove all these other voices and these other bullshit voices in your head that are beating you up, that's caused you to feel bad. There's a reason why you're feeling bad. And half the time it's not in your fucking voice, right? So there's that. Hope you enjoyed it. Or I don't really even care. I got to get better at saying like shit when I exit. And I do realize that we were going to talk about Ozempic, but we kind of went on a way different avenue, but it doesn't surprise me. Anyway, have fun. Talk to you soon. CaseyShip.com/podcast offer. Talk to you soon.